Can you imagine that a simple food on your plate, something you've probably eaten 100 times, could quietly help your body balance blood sugar without you even noticing? Most people have heard of healthy foods, but very few know that certain everyday ingredients can influence how your body responds to glucose, how much insulin it needs, and how stable your energy feels from morning to night. And what's even more surprising is that some of these foods do their work behind the scenes long before you ever feel a difference. That's where the real mystery begins. Can food really help your body balance blood sugar? This question is more powerful than it seems. Because when you understand how your body reacts to what you eat, you discover that meals are not just meals, they are signals, signals that can calm your glucose curve or send it skyrocketing. And today we're looking at foods that many people underestimate, foods that don't just fill your stomach, but may support your body's ability to use insulin more efficiently. Foods that science often links with better glucose stability and smoother energy throughout the day. But these aren't the usual eat more vegetables tips you've heard 1,000 times. These are foods with unique effects, surprising properties, and stories that connect nature, tradition, and modern research. In this video, you're going to learn about 5 standout foods that have gained attention for their potential role in supporting healthy glucose levels. You'll hear why these foods behave differently in the body, the hidden reasons they can help soften a blood sugar spike, and how tiny shifts in your daily routine can create a noticeable difference over time. And I'm not just listing them, I'm revealing the logic behind each one. Because once you understand why they work, everything about your meals suddenly becomes more strategic. You'll discover the spice that ancient cultures used for warmth and healing, long before anyone knew it could influence how cells respond to insulin. You'll meet a group of tiny, colorful fruits that look sweet but act nothing like sugar inside your body. There's a protein rich food that moves through your system slowly on purpose, helping your glucose rise gently instead of suddenly. And then there's a food that almost behaves like a secret weapon, quiet, creamy, and disguised as a simple fat, yet capable of slowing digestion in a way that changes the entire blood sugar story of a meal. Most people eat these foods without realizing the strange advantages they bring. After today, you won't see them the same way again. And here's the twist. These foods don't work with force. They work with timing, fiber, natural compounds, and the way your stomach breaks down food. They support what your body is already trying to do, keep your blood sugar from shooting too high. That's why the glucose goddess principles talk so much about flattening glucose curves. Because when the spikes shrink, everything else, energy, cravings, mood, often becomes easier to manage. The foods you're about to learn about fit perfectly into that idea. They don't promise miracles. They help your body do what it was always meant to do. By the end of this video, you'll understand not only the 5 foods, but also a bonus insight that can change how you eat any meal, no matter what's on your plate. A simple shift based on a natural process your body already uses that could transform how you feel after eating. Most people only hear about this trick after months of searching. You're getting it today, right here, before we even get into the foods. So stay with me until the very end because every piece of this puzzle builds on the last miss one part, and the full picture won't make sense. But watch the whole video and you'll finish with a clear understanding of how tiny choices, choosing this food instead of that one, changing the order of bites, pairing 2 ingredients instead of eating one alone, can all play a part in flattening glucose spikes and supporting healthier habits. If you're ready to learn how everyday foods can quietly shape your body's energy and balance, you're in the right place. Welcome to our channel where we simplify powerful ideas and turn them into easy habits. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video that can help you build a healthier, smarter life one choice at a time. This video is for education only and does not replace medical advice. Before we dive into the fascinating world of foods that may support healthier blood sugar, it's important to remember that everyone's body is different, and what helps one person may work differently for another. Still, food has always carried secrets, tiny chemical messages, natural fibers, and slow digesting compounds that can shift the way our bodies respond to glucose. That's why understanding these foods can feel almost empowering, like learning how to read the quiet language your body speaks every day. And once you hear that language, it's hard to ignore it. This video is for education only and does not replace medical advice. Now, imagine looking at a simple bowl of food, maybe something you've eaten your entire life, and realizing it had a purpose you never knew about. Some foods move through your system slowly, giving your body time to handle glucose more gently. Others bring nutrients that whisper to your cells, helping them respond to insulin with a bit more ease. These are not magic cures or promises. They are natural tools that have been around forever, waiting for us to understand their hidden roles. This video is for education only and does not replace medical advice. As you listen, pay attention to how each food has a different story. One might come from ancient traditions used long before anyone knew what blood sugar even meant. Another might be a modern favorite, praised by people who study glucose curves and talk about flattening spikes in a simple, practical way. You'll notice patterns, how fiber slows digestion, how fats change the speed of absorption, how natural compounds can influence the body's signals. These patterns show up again and again, and once you see them, you start recognizing them in the meals you already eat. This video is for education only and does not replace medical advice. And as we go deeper, the picture becomes clearer. You start to understand why some meals leave you feeling energized while others leave you tired. You begin to see why small changes, adding one ingredient, pairing two foods, adjusting the order of bites, can create shifts you actually feel. These ideas are simple, but they can change the way you think about your daily meals. They make eating feel less random and more intentional, like you've unlocked a tiny piece of how your body works. This video is for education only and does not replace medical advice. Type 2 diabetes is often linked to something called insulin resistance, and the idea is simpler than it sounds. Your body makes insulin to help move sugar from your blood into your cells. But when the cells stop responding well, the sugar stays in your bloodstream instead of being used for energy. It's like your cells hear the knock, but they don't open the door. Over time, your body has to release more and more insulin just to get the same job done. This slow shift is what creates those higher glucose levels that many people struggle with. And understanding this one idea helps you see why food choices matter so much in daily life. Type 2 diabetes is linked to insulin resistance, and this resistance can grow silently for years. But here's where things get interesting. Certain foods can help your body deal with glucose more gently. Some foods digest slowly, giving your bloodstream a much calmer rise. Others carry natural fibers that act like tiny brakes, slowing down how fast sugar enters your system. When your food moves slowly, your blood sugar rises slowly too. And that single change can make a huge difference in how you feel after eating. Suddenly, your energy stays steadier, your cravings feel quieter, and your body doesn't have to push itself so hard to manage sugar. Type 2 diabetes is linked to insulin resistance, but what you eat can influence the shape of your glucose curve. This is where the glucose goddess idea comes in, a simple way of understanding how food affects your body. Instead of thinking only about calories or carbs, the focus is on flattening your blood sugar curve. A flat curve means fewer spikes, fewer crashes, and a smoother day overall. It's like giving your body a peaceful ride instead of a roller coaster. When your meals keep your glucose steady, everything else becomes easier to manage. Type 2 diabetes is linked to insulin resistance, and knowing this gives power back to everyday choices. The glucose goddess approach shows that small habits like adding fiber first, pairing carbs with fats, or choosing foods with slower digestion can flatten the curve almost instantly. You don't need extreme diets or complicated routines. You just need to understand how food travels through your body. Once you see how certain foods naturally soften a spike, the entire way you look at meals starts to shift, and every smooth curve is one step toward feeling more balanced throughout your day. Cinnamon has become one of those foods that people mention whenever the topic of blood sugar comes up, and there's a reason for that. It's not a magic cure and it's not a treatment, but many people talk about cinnamon because it may play a gentle role in supporting insulin sensitivity. That simply means it might help your cells respond a little better to the insulin your body already makes. The interesting part is how something so small, so familiar, and so comforting can be part of a bigger conversation about glucose. Cinnamon has been used for centuries for warmth, flavor, and aroma, long before anyone knew anything about insulin or blood sugar. And yet, today, it's being talked about again for a completely different reason. Cinnamon may help with insulin sensitivity. And the idea behind this starts with its natural compounds. When you taste cinnamon, that warmth you feel isn't just flavor, it's chemistry. These compounds interact with your body in ways that researchers continue to explore. Nothing dramatic, nothing instant, but enough for people to be curious, enough for cinnamon to show up in health discussions over and over again. And what makes it even more interesting is how easy it is to add to your daily routine without changing your meals in extreme ways. Cinnamon blends into almost anything without drawing too much attention to itself. It hides in plain sight. Cinnamon may help with insulin sensitivity, and that's why people sprinkle it on their oats in the morning. One gentle shake over warm oatmeal gives you flavor, aroma, comfort, and a little sense of intention. Others add it to their smoothies, letting that warm spice cut through the cold sweetness. Some stir it into tea, where the heat brings out the scent even more. Cinnamon works in all of these because it doesn't demand anything from you. It fits naturally, it blends smoothly. It's one of the simplest ingredients to add without feeling like you're making a big lifestyle change. Cinnamon may help with insulin sensitivity, but the important part is always keeping things simple and cautious. It's a spice, not a solution. A helpful addition, not a replacement for medical guidance or personal care. But what makes cinnamon fascinating is how something so ordinary can have a reputation that stretches across cultures, traditions, kitchens, and now modern wellness conversations. Its warmth carries history, its flavor carries comfort, and its potential effects carry curiosity, enough for many people to give it a place in their daily routine, one sprinkle at a time. Leafy greens are some of the quietest, most underrated foods when it comes to supporting steady blood sugar. They don't make bold claims, they don't taste sweet or dramatic, but they do something far more valuable. They work in the background. Spinach, kale, and chard are classic examples. These greens are incredibly low in carbs, which means they barely affect your glucose levels when you eat them. You could load your plate with them and your blood sugar would barely move. That alone makes them powerful choices, but their real magic comes from something deeper: fiber. Leafy greens like spinach, kale, and chard are packed with fiber. And fiber changes everything about how sugar enters the bloodstream. When you eat fiber, it forms a gentle barrier that slows down digestion. Instead of sugar rushing into your blood all at once, it trickles in slowly. This slow release gives your body time to respond, time to use the sugar gradually, and time to keep your glucose levels more stable. Fiber acts like nature's built in brake system, quietly controlling the pace of digestion without you having to think about it. Every bite of greens adds a little more control, a little more balance, a little more calm. Leafy greens are very low in carbs, and this is part of what makes them so interesting. Many meals cause spikes because they break down quickly into glucose, but greens don't spike much at all. So their carb content is minimal, and paired with their fiber, they create almost no disturbance. They're like the peaceful part of the plate, steady, grounding, and supportive. When you add a handful of spinach to your lunch or a side of kale to your dinner, you're not just adding color, you're creating a smoother, flatter glucose curve without effort. Leafy greens also have a unique texture and structure. Their leaves are built with tough fibers and natural compounds that your stomach has to work through slowly. This slows the whole meal down, not just the greens themselves. When you eat greens before the rest of your food, especially carbs, you create a protective layer of fiber in your stomach. This trick can soften the impact of whatever comes next: rice, pasta, bread, anything. It's a simple action that has a surprising effect. You're not avoiding the foods you enjoy, you're just preparing your body to handle them more smoothly. Spinach, kale, and chard may look humble, but their quiet power comes from their softness, their structure, and their timing. They don't fight your body. They work with it. They slow, steady, and balance, one leaf at a time. Berries are one of the rare foods that feel like a treat but act like a tool. Blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries look bright, sweet, and tempting, yet they behave completely differently from most sugary foods. They offer sweetness without the chaos, flavor without the crash, and color without the spike. That's because berries have a naturally low glycemic impact. Even though they taste sweet, they release sugar into the bloodstream slowly. It's almost like they've been designed to give pleasure without punishment. Every bite feels light and refreshing, yet behind the sweetness lies a gentle, steady effect on glucose. Blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries each bring their own twist. Blueberries are juicy and deep colored, raspberries are soft and tart, and strawberries carry that classic summer sweetness. Despite their differences, they share one thing: they're packed with antioxidants. These antioxidants are powerful compounds that help your cells handle stress, inflammation, and everyday wear. When people talk about berries being good for you, they're really talking about these tiny natural defenders hidden inside each fruit. Antioxidants give berries a kind of secret strength, a quiet ability to support your body beyond just giving you something sweet to eat. Berries have a low glycemic impact, and that alone makes them fascinating. Most sweet foods cause a rush, a quick rise in blood sugar, followed by an inevitable drop. But berries move differently. Their natural fibers, water content, and unique sugars slow everything down. Instead of a spike, you get a soft lift. Instead of a crash, you get steady energy. That's why berries often show up in conversations around balanced meals and healthier dessert choices. They're one of the few sweet options that feel safe, soothing, and satisfying all at once. Berries are also perfect for people who crave sweetness but don't want the consequences. When a craving hits, grabbing a handful of berries can satisfy that desire without sending your glucose on a roller coaster. They hit the sweet spot, literally, while keeping your body in a stable state. You can add them to yogurt, toss them into a salad, blend them into a smoothie, or simply eat them plain. They fit into your day easily, naturally, and without pressure. Their sweetness feels real but gentle, and that makes them one of the most enjoyable foods for anyone trying to manage their blood sugar more thoughtfully. Blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries may be small, but they carry a power that goes beyond their size. They bring color, flavor, balance, and calm in a single handful. Beans and lentils are some of the most surprising foods when it comes to steady, balanced energy. They look simple, they taste humble, and they show up in dishes from every corner of the world, yet their power lies in the way they move through the body. These tiny, earthy foods are incredibly high in fiber, and fiber is one of the most important elements for a calm glucose response. When you eat beans or lentils, that fiber acts like a natural barrier, slowing everything down. Nothing rushes, nothing spikes, nothing crashes. It's steady, controlled, and gentle, the way your body prefers. Beans and lentils are high in fiber on purpose. That natural structure, the skin, the inside, the layers, creates a slow digestive process. Your stomach has to work through it step by step, which means the carbohydrates inside these foods take longer to break down. Instead of hitting your bloodstream all at once, they release slowly. These slow release carbohydrates are completely different from the fast, sharp carbs you get from bread, sweets, or pastries. They behave more like a long, steady stream instead of a sudden flood. And that difference shapes the entire way your body handles glucose after a meal. Beans and lentils offer slow release carbohydrates because nature built them that way. Their structure is dense, their fibers are thick, and their nutrients are locked inside tiny compartments that take time to digest. This natural slow motion is what helps stabilize your glucose after meals. When your blood sugar rises gradually, your body can respond calmly. There's no panic, no rush, no sudden demand for insulin. It's a smooth curve, the kind many people look for when they talk about balancing their meals or flattening their glucose spikes. Beans and lentils help stabilize glucose after meals in a way that feels almost effortless. You don't have to do anything special. Just adding a scoop of lentils to your lunch or mixing beans into your dinner can change how the entire meal affects you. They blend easily with vegetables, grains, soups, salads, almost anything. And because they digest slowly, they help carry you through the next few hours with steady energy instead of hunger or fatigue. It's one of the simplest ways to turn a sharp meal into a balanced one. High in fiber, full of slow release carbs, and naturally stabilizing, beans and lentils are proof that some of the most powerful foods are also the most unassuming. They work quietly, steadily, and predictably, one spoonful at a time. Healthy fats are some of the most powerful yet misunderstood foods when it comes to steady blood sugar. They don't taste sweet, they don't act sugary, and they don't behave like carbs at all. Instead, foods like avocado, nuts, and olive oil work in a completely different way. They slow the whole eating process down, not just in flavor, but in digestion. When you add healthy fats to a meal, they naturally delay digestion. This slowing effect changes everything about how quickly sugar enters your bloodstream. It's like giving your body a gentle pause button, a moment to breathe before the glucose from your meal begins to rise. Healthy fats delay digestion because of how your stomach handles them. They take time to break apart, time to move through the system, time to be processed. While that might sound simple, the impact is huge. When digestion slows down, the release of sugar slows down too. Instead of a fast spike that hits you all at once, you get a soft, steady rise that your body can manage more easily. Avocado spreads this effect with its creamy texture. Nuts do it with their crunch and natural oils. Olive oil does it quietly, coating your food in a way that changes the speed of absorption without you even noticing. Avocado, nuts, and olive oil help prevent sharp glucose spikes because they change the rhythm of your meal. Think of it like controlling the pace of a story. Without fats, your body races through the chapter, absorbing carbs quickly. With fats, the story slows, the pace steadies, and the plot unfolds gently. This smoother pace is exactly what makes healthy fats so useful. When people talk about balanced meals, they're really talking about meals that move slowly enough for the body to keep up. Healthy fats play that supporting role perfectly, giving your glucose curve a calmer, flatter shape. The glucose goddess often talks about pairing carbs with fats. And this idea is rooted in the same principle, slowing digestion to flatten the glucose curve. If you eat carbs alone, they rush into your system. But when you pair those carbs with avocado, nuts, or olive oil, the carbs have to wait. They move through your stomach at a more controlled pace, which helps keep your blood sugar stable. It's one of the simplest tricks, yet one of the most effective. You don't have to give up your favorite foods. You just add something that changes how the meal behaves inside your body. Healthy fats delay digestion, steady your glucose curve, and create meals that feel satisfying instead of overwhelming. Avocado, nuts, and olive oil may seem ordinary, but the way they shape a meal is anything but simple. They turn fast spikes into gentle waves, one bite at a time. The order of eating trick is one of the simplest yet most surprising ideas when it comes to shaping your blood sugar curve. It doesn't require special foods, strict diets, or complicated rules. It's all about the sequence in which you take your bites. The idea is almost too simple: eat veggies first, then proteins and fats, and save carbs for last. That's it. But this simple order can create a huge difference in how your body responds to a meal. It changes the speed, the absorption, and the rhythm of digestion, all without you having to give up anything you love. Eat veggies first, and something interesting happens inside your stomach. Vegetables, with all their fiber, form a gentle layer that lines the stomach and slows down the movement of food. This fiber barrier acts like a natural shield. Instead of carbs rushing through your system the moment you swallow them, the fiber tells them to wait, to move slowly, to enter the bloodstream in a calm, steady flow instead of a sharp spike. It's almost like placing a soft cushion at the bottom of your stomach that absorbs the impact before anything hits. Eat proteins and fats after the veggies, and the effect grows stronger. Protein takes time to digest, and fat slows everything down even more. Together, they thicken that protective layer in your stomach. This combination creates a gentle, controlled environment where your food moves at a slower, more predictable pace. When your body digests slowly, your glucose levels rise slowly. When your glucose rises slowly, your energy stays steady and smooth. The second step of the order reinforces the foundation that the vegetables built, making the entire meal easier for your body to handle. Eat carbs last. And that's where the magic becomes obvious. Carbs normally break down quickly and release sugar fast. But when they enter your system after fiber, protein, and fats, they're forced to take their time. They no longer have the chance to rush in and cause a spike. Instead, they're absorbed gradually, often creating a much flatter glucose curve. You still enjoy your pasta, your rice, your bread, or your dessert, but now it's happening in a calmer environment where your body isn't overwhelmed. You get the flavor and comfort without the sudden surge and crash. This order of eating trick helps flatten glucose curves in a way that feels almost invisible. You don't taste the difference, you don't feel restricted, and you don't have to change what you eat. You only change how you eat it. And that small shift can turn an ordinary meal into one that supports your body, steadies your energy, and keeps your glucose curve flowing smoothly instead of spiking sharply. It's a subtle tool with a powerful impact hidden in the simple order of your bites. Imagine starting your day with a simple routine that feels natural, comforting, and easy to repeat. You wake up, and instead of rushing into a heavy breakfast, you begin with something gentle. Maybe a handful of spinach or kale sauteed lightly, or even a small bowl of raw greens with a drizzle of olive oil. This first layer of fiber sets the stage for everything that comes after. Then you move to something with protein or healthy fat, maybe a boiled egg, a few nuts, or a slice of avocado. Only after that do you enjoy your carbs, whether it's a slice of whole grain toast or a small bowl of oats sprinkled with cinnamon. The order creates a quiet kind of balance before your day even begins. At lunchtime, you keep things just as simple. You start with vegetables again. Maybe a salad, maybe steamed greens, maybe just a handful of raw veggies with lemon. Then you follow with a portion of beans or lentils, letting their slow release energy carry you through the afternoon. You might add a splash of olive oil for flavor and that gentle slowing effect. Only once you've had your veggies and protein do you move on to the carb portion of your meal. Even something like rice or pasta behaves differently when you eat it last. If you want something sweet afterward, a handful of berries brings color and a light, natural sweetness without the crash. Later in the day, when cravings hit, as they often do, you reach for berries instead of cookies. Blueberries, raspberries, or strawberries give you sweetness without chaos. They're refreshing, bright, and calming. If you need a quick snack, nuts, or a small piece of avocado toast, quiet your hunger while helping your glucose stay steady. Dinner follows the same gentle rhythm: veggies first, then proteins and fats, then carbs last. And in every meal, you have small places where cinnamon can slip in: a sprinkle on oats, a touch in your tea, a pinch in a smoothie. You end the day feeling steady instead of stuffed, calm instead of spiking. Small changes like these matter far more than people think. You don't need to overhaul your entire lifestyle. You don't need perfect meals or flawless routines. You just need small, steady habits that repeat themselves quietly throughout your day. Every handful of greens, every portion of beans, every spoonful of berries, every sprinkle of cinnamon adds up. These little choices gently shift your glucose curve, your energy, and the way you feel after eating. Perfection isn't the goal. The goal is consistency, tiny steps, easy decisions, small wins that stack on top of each other. When you focus on these simple habits, your body responds in ways you can feel. And every day starts to feel a little lighter, a little steadier, and a little more under your control. And now that you've got these simple, steady habits in your toolkit, I want to hear from you. What's your favorite blood sugar friendly food? The one you reach for when you want energy without the crash. Drop it in the comments below because your ideas might inspire someone else who's just starting their journey. If you enjoyed this video and want more easy, practical habits that actually make a difference, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more content that keeps you feeling steady, energized, and in control. Let's keep building healthy habits together.